I've titled this segment Committing for the Long Haul. Essentially, after 9/11, I was pretty much devastated and felt pretty defeated. Jim had passed away. I felt like a lot of what I had saw coming had begun with 9/11. And I didn't know if I really kind of felt like I was out of time. And it took me a few weeks. I had come back from Montana telling everybody I'm done. And I was pretty whipped. And felt completely that why didn't I, why did I run? When I had a chance to know more, maybe God was wanting to do something, and I had refused to listen. And I knew I'd live with that the rest of my life. And yeah, I mean, God forgives you, but I was left going, wow, I just missed it so bad. And I didn't really want to ever miss it that bad again. And so I was doing a lot of soul searching, trying to figure out what it was in me that caused me to be that way. But anyway, so I came back, and it kind of swung around, and I just really said, you know, the Lord never told me this was going to be easy to do. Obviously, I thought we could get development done in a couple of years, be off and running, you know. But I just came to the deal. So I'm going to do what it takes to get this done. It takes me 10 years of working, consulting projects, and pouring it into share value, and a little money here, a little money there. I obviously didn't think it would take 10 years, but it did. And I bounced back and forth. I went to Bozeman for a year. Think I could find cheaper programming or something. Didn't work. Moved back to Springfield instead of Kansas City. Feel like I could find cheaper programmers. And I did, but it was harder to make a living in Springfield. But the cost of living was less expensive. But I didn't. Springfield wasn't a place I wanted to live. We did. We lived there for 5 years. We did complete it, the basic programming, and I knew I could launch it. And I didn't really want to launch it from Springfield. I didn't want to live in Springfield anyway, but I was there. And my daughter had moved back to Bozeman and had twin girls on 888. And Lori had gone up to help her, and she asked me to come back up here and see whether or not we could move here before we launched Share Value, because this is where we wanted to be. Our grandchildren was here, but as much to Lori and I was the original vision I had of Bozeman just being a key place where we had high expectations in the realm of faith. So anyway, so we've been in a lot of prayer meetings with a small group of people for the previous couple of years before we moved back, and there had been, literally at least 100 dreams and visions of something that was coming. And one of the symbols used in it was the buffalo. And if God talks to us, he talks to us in language that means something to us. And in these visions of the buffalo, to me it was like redemption. We had as a country, we had, as a people, we had obliterated the buffalo to almost extinction in order to eradicate the Native Americans. And to me, it was a horrendous genocide guilt that we had as a nation. To me, equal to what Hitler tried to do in Europe, as far as I'm concerned. Others might see that different, whatever. We destroyed millions of innocent lives. And when the dreams and visions of the buffalo, it was like God's going to turn this around. And what we were meant to be as a country, he wants that to happen. And I know that our nation was only founded on like 5 of the 10 commandments. And of course, I believe we're in the age of grace, not law. And but I just felt like, our country is divided right now. We have a democratic part of our country, and then we have a totalitarian part of our government. It seems to be imperialistic. Obviously, we have people who desire a one world government. And I just don't believe that's our destiny. But that's just, it's my opinion, but I hold it strong. But it's creating a conflict in our country. And I've seen a lot of the things and the development of things. So when I started getting a vision of Buffalo and them returning and of the land in peace because of it, and whatever symbol that was, it was encouraging to the nth degree for me. This is just a ray of hope. So anyway, so I went back to Bozeman. I scouted it out, and ran into this gal, Shara, who funded us a little bit and to get us back here, who turned out to be just like one of the worst mistakes I ever made in dealing with her, because of her. She has so much gravity to do things that were very destructive in my view. Anyway, so we moved back to launch sales, and I needed a base under me, so I was looking for a base. And my friend John, who had taken me to Metro, called me up one day and said his sister-in-law was ill, and she had been healed, I believe, of cancer in her 40s, and she was very, very ill. He couldn't understand why she wasn't passing, and he was wondering if God was going to heal her again. And so he called me and asked me to come over and pray for her. So I went over and walked in, and we prayed for a few minutes, and I really just wasn't getting anything. And he asked me, "Did you get anything?" I'm like, "I'm not getting anything." And she was there in the living room, pretty much kind of out of it. And so I needed to go to the restroom, so I went to the restroom, and as I was leaving, a dark spirit grabbed me around the waist and said, "Don't go, you belong here, this is your home, yada yada." And I was like, whoa, this is not my home. I'm like, what? And so, whatever, and I left. So I went back out in the other room and sit down, and John asked me if I was getting anything. I said no, and the Lord said, "Tell him what just happened." So I told him, and then I realized it wasn't me the spirit was talking to, it was his sister-in-law. And I said, we need, we all agreed we need to get rid of that. And we prayed, and it actually went really fast. It was just gone Holy Spirit just filled up the home, and it was really peaceful all of a sudden. And we went over to his sister-in-law and laid hands on her to pray for her, and she passed right within a minute or two. And so that was kind of a reunion between John and I, and then just kind of a nice going away for his sister-in-law. But I think, anyway, John called me a few weeks later and said that he'd run into a bakery in Butte, and would I come over and get it started, and they would give me a share of it and fund it. And I went over and looked at it, and I said, I don't really want to do this, but with the wholesale, we can make good enough money. This could put a base under me that I was looking for, by which to launch share value. And so I agreed to come over and do it. And long story short, it went over to get things going. We started our wholesale, and we had a guy from the state come in and say that we couldn't do wholesale because our packaging had to be thus and so. And I told him, I said, I researched all the bakeries in town before I came over, and none of them are doing that. And he said, well, we're going to make you do it. So it was evident that they didn't want me probably in town doing wholesale. But anyway, so it pretty much killed the shop. And John had kind of wanted us to move to Butte, and he was constantly trying to get us to move to Butte. I know he loves the Lord, and wanted to see more of the prophetic there, and wanted me to be a part of that, I'm sure. But in the end, I just felt it was just devastating to have to close the bakery and walk away from it. I just kind of felt tricked by John, like he was trying to trick me to move to Butte. And I'm not angry at him. I'm empty. It left me empty, and I haven't really talked to him much since. But so I came back over here, still looking for a base, and Sherrod had a friend that had this Forex trading platform that they'd been experimenting with, and she wanted me to go take a look at it, and I went and looked at it, and it looked really good, fully functional, and these things are hard to come by, and this one was pretty impressive. And so we decided, at about the same time, Todd and Chris called me and told me some of the things they were going through, and that and then I told them about this platform, and long story short, they told them about my vision for investments and what we could do. And long story short, we decided to form a company to give this a whirl and see what we could do with it. And it linked up very much in line with the dreams and visions I'd had of the buffalo, and hence that's where the name came from. And so we started the buffalo. Drew up a private placement